Welcome, everyone. Thank you again for being here. Sorry for the wait. And please have a pen and paper ready or a note program on your computer, and we'll get started soon. Happy New Year. I hope you all are having a wonderful second day of the year. And I'm excited to lead this workshop with you all. Welcome. Happy New Year to everyone. Please have a pen and paper ready. Get yourself comfortable, and we'll start soon.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together.
Welcome again, everybody, to RootWording. My name is Sherese Francis. This is my first session with Woo and my first session for a new series I'm leading called RootWording. Before I tell you a little bit about my philosophy behind RootWording, I'd like to invite everybody to help me also define what RootWording is. As a poet, oh, um, previous slide first. I want to stay on the first one. Thank you. So before I give you my own definitions of root wording, I'd like to invite everyone who's participating to also share their own definition as well. I believe definitions are a collaborative effort and that we all together define words. So please share any words, phrases, ideas that come to mind when you hear the word root wording. Feel free to share it in the chat, or if you'd like to unmute your mic, you can do so as well. And there are no right or wrong answers. This is a creative writing exercise. So it's about how words are embodied in your own body and how you express the meaning for yourself.
Oh, Sherese, this is Teresa. I'll jump in. Root wording. I'm trying not to use the word to define itself. But I would say it's getting to like the most simplest element, right, of the word, really breaking it down into its parts. Um, yeah, to define itself,
Mm.
right? So that's my definition of it, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you, Teresa. And I agree as someone who one of my favorite subjects was chemistry in high school, and I call myself an alchemist. I see rooting with words and root wording as breaking words down to their elements and creating new compounds with them. So that's a great definition. Anyone else like to share? Yeah.
Thanks. Stacy just dropped into the chat. Good morning, sister Stacy. Where a word begins and where it comes from. That's
Mm,
define root wording. Yes.
beautiful. And hi, Stacy. Nice to see you.
Okay.
Yeah. Would one more person like to share before we move on?
Oh,
I
there.
would love to just add, oh, so Florence said, would that relate to the origin of the word?
Mm, yes. Origins,
Mhm.
sources of words, yes.
And I myself was thinking just by understanding the root of a word, it would deepen my understanding of the word.
Hmm. Yes, and when we think of roots, roots are deep in the earth, so deepening the understanding of the word. Yes. So before we talk about the word, I see other people are adding the power of the word from Rachel.
Peace, y'all. I was just gonna add as well. Um, I feel like a series of words with the same root
Mm,
fall underneath the same category, if that makes sense.
that's a great answer as well because um a root of a word is almost like an ancestor, and so all the other words are descendants of that root. So they will fall under that kind of family of words as well. Yes.
Beautiful.
So before we start beginning with manifestation, I'm going to give you a bit of my own philosophy when it comes to root wording. So next slide. So wording is a play on root working. As a poet, I love to play on words a lot. So with root working, it's a group of African American spiritual practices that are often done in the Southern United States. It's often called hoodoo as well. And so my work with roots and words often feel like it's a form of working with magic, working with spiritual practices, and how we understand our relationship to words, much in the same way that root working and hoodoo is about understanding our relationship to our environments around us and how we can shape shift them into new and wonderful things. Next line. As I mentioned, roots have to do with etymology, and the word etymology itself, its root means the study of the true sense of a word. So etym has to do with truth, and logy has to do with the study of something. So it's the study of a true sense or the roots of a word. Next. And because it's roots that we're working with, the word radical also means roots. So it's a radical approach to how we approach language, understanding roots, understanding building blocks and foundations of words, and how that can help us act with them in a spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical way. And last, rooting into language and fully embodying its ecology. So ecology has to do with our relationships to environments, and our bodies can also be considered environments as well. And as other people and other writers have stated as well, um, words can create environments too. So all of these are environments that we work in and we root ourselves in and that help us to express ourselves. So in thinking about all that, we're going to start with the word manifestation. I thought since it's the new year and we're all probably or not creating goals for the new year, resolutions for the new year, that manifestation would be a great word to start with. So the first question I would like to ask you all is, what does manifestation mean to you? Feel free to share in the chat or unmute your mic. See a decision from Rachel.
I'm actually going to ask, oh, I see a couple more. Your creation
Mm,
from Florence, a product of the hands.
mm,
That was from Jacqueline.
mm,
Rachel says hard work.
mm, mm,
Marilyn says bringing to fruition your desires.
mm,
Amavola says to make something happen through words and setting goals.
mm. Great answers. Yes. So of course, based off of what most of you have said, manifestation has to do with some sort of action, some sort of, whether it's with your words or your body, you're making something happen. So that is the common way we think of manifestation. But I want to break the word down so we can get a little more deeper in how we think about manifestation. So when we look at the roots of the word, it is broken down into three parts. There's mani, there's fest, and then there's Asian. So before I tell you what those parts mean, I would like for you to think about what each part could mean for yourself as well. Because with etymology, yes, we have records for words, but those records are are something that could easily not be true or not be absolutely correct. And a lot of it is based off of speculation. So I believe all language and all study has some level of speculation to them. So, and with speculation, that also relates to art and poetry as well. So you're also allowed to kind of embody the word and make it mean something for yourself as well. So I see some people are responding with what they think each part of the word means.
Yes, we have fest is like festival.
Mm,
And someone thought hand because Manny is also part of manicure. You got some agreement on that.
yeah.
Just going back, we had a comment from the last question from Facebook to bring forth.
Mm,
And someone else added patience in terms of what manifestation.
mm. I love the bring forth.
Anyone else want to chime in on the parts of the word?
Okay.
These
So
folks are thinking deeply this morning.
I'll give you a few more seconds if anybody else wants to share. Ooh, action.
Hmm.
Does have Tion at the end. So Manny as in manual, the act of. Okay, so feel free to keep sharing if you'd like, but we're gonna move on to the next slide. Okay, so the root of the word manifest comes from Latin, and as many of you were saying in the chat, Manny does mean the word manus, which means hand. So that is the first part of the word. The next part of the word is fest, and it comes from allegedly, because all etymology is speculation, is infestus, which comes from the word infendo. And there's also a claim that it might come from the word durs. And so the infendo part comes from to strike or hit. So it's related to action words like defense or offense. But the durs part could also mean to hold, grab, or support. And I saw someone in the chat mention the word festival. And if you look up the root of the word festival, that comes from the word des, which means a sacred place or a holy place. So that also could be related in terms of the idea of a place of support as well. So when we think about language, it's also important to think about words that could possibly be related to those words as well, even if it is only speculation, because we're not absolutely certain of the origins of those words all the time as well. So then the last part, Asian, it does mean an action. It can also mean a process, a result, or conditions. So basically, it's a verbal noun. And I think that's important because a lot of our words are verbs. And in a lot of other languages, they're also verbal heavy. So when we think about language, we should think about whether our languages are about just us being things or whether they're about us doing actions, and how whether we're doing actions or just being an object, and how that affects how we maneuver through the world as well. So now that you know the root of the word, what do you think of the word manifestation now? Feel free to comment in the chat or unmute your mic.
Well, Sherese, this is Teresa again. It's interesting because I've never looked at breaking down manifestation into its parts. I've always just looked at the word itself, manifestation, as a whole to mean to mean what it is,
Mm,
right? Um, so looking at it in its subsequent little parts, it's like, oh, it has a lot of weight to it. Um,
mm,
yeah, I've never looked at it this way, and I appreciate you bringing the conversation into the space. Because now it's like, ooh, it is more than, for me anyway, the way that is landing, it's more than just manifestation. It is you know, like the work of my hands,
Mm,
the yeah, there's a lot of meat to this word
mm.
when you break it down. So, oh yeah, this conversation is dope. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Teresa. And yes, that's what I love about breaking words down and understanding their different parts because you relate to them in a whole new different way.
So in
See,
the chat, we've got a few responses.
mhm,
Um, Florence said, bringing forth from the inside out.
mhm,
And forgive me, I'm reading on a different device, and even with glasses, it's tough. Robin, I'm sorry. Rachel says, what comes to mind is being sober-minded and clear when creating is important.
mhm,
And Denise, I'm sorry, Desiree says, creating with your hands, work in human flesh through action,
mhm,
but it begins with your mind.
mhm. I love those answers. And mentioning the mind, as I mentioned, I love playing with words. So the fact that you all are mentioning the mind and how that also sounds similar to Mani and Manus and the relationship between our minds and our hands as well, and that we use our hands to express the things that are forming in our minds as well. So seeing the multiple possible relationships of languages. So we can move to the next slide. So speaking of hands, I wanted to share a few quotes that reminded me of the power of hands. And I don't know if you've seen this documentary about Toni Morrison called The Pieces I Am, but the documentary mentions at the end um, has Toni Morrison speaking about a time where she went to an exhibition in Europe and she had to go move towards a mirror and then put her hand against the mirror. And someone on the other side of the mirror approached her and touched her hand. And her response to that moment was, our hands touched. Neither one of us said a word, just interest, curiosity, and human connection. That experience says more and much about what I think I'm doing when I write. I know I'm not you. I know I don't know you, but I know this. And she put her hands up. And I thought that was a powerful moment to end the documentary with, especially being that Toni Morrison was a writer and I'm a writer and a poet as well. And that writing is about us using our hands, but it's also the power of touch and human connection as well. So for the next slide. Another one of my favorite writers, Octavia Butler, and this quote that I love from her, every story I create creates me. I write to create myself. And this is one of my favorite quotes because it helps us to think about the power of our own creations. When we create anything, it also creates us. When we express ourselves, it also reshapes our perceptions, our way of thinking. It rewrites us as well. And so when we're creating, it is also a kind of reciprocal relationship with our creations as well. So I would like to ask you what to write about your hands and what they mean to you. What are the various actions that you can do with your hands? So feel free to write it in the chat or unmute your mic and share something that you wrote down as well. So I'll give you a few moments to think about your hands and what they mean to you, and then feel free to share.
I'm going to start reading these answers coming into the chat because now they're really coming in. So
Okay.
the first response was dance.
Mm,
Phyllis, Valita said catch babies,
mm,
bringing in the spirit.
mm,
Florence said hands can speak.
mm,
I added that my hands give me the opportunity to touch and experience the world and the
mm,
people I love, either directly with my hand or through the things I create.
mm,
Florence says they express what cannot be seen. Laura puts tools of creation.
mm,
Phyllis adds, my hands are a gateway to my inner being and expressions.
mm,
From Facebook, Benji B adds, interesting and enlightening perspective with the breakdown of manifestation. I
mm,
caught being and doing and how we navigate. That was very empowering to hear.
mm,
We have Rachel offers, my hands are made for prayer. My hands are made to serve. My
mm,
hands are made to nurture. My hands are made to be still, work
mm,
out, write, cook. My hands are made to you to be used for love.
mm,
Jacqueline adds, my hands create, my hands support, my hands caress, and my hands strike. I
mm,
talk with my hands, I beckon with my hands, and I can accuse with my hands.
mm,
My hands have cooked, cleaned, and molded with my hands.
mm.
And she likes what Rachel added. Phyllis says, my hands are my destiny.
Mm, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, our hands do so much. They're multifunctional. And I love that some of you share that our hands speak. And there was one article I found from Quanta magazine that talked about the relationship between our mouths and our hands as well, that in our brains, they coordinate between our tongues and the movement of our mouths and our hands. So oftentimes you we associate hands with speech as well. So someone mentioned prayer. Um, Also, when we talk, sometimes we gesture with our hands. Sign language is a way of speaking with the hands. In South Asia, they have mudras where you make gestures with your hands, and that affects your body as well. Of course, there's Reiki, there's laying of the hands. We do so much with our hands, and that shows you how powerful our hands are. We're the only species on the planet that does so much with our hands. We're incredibly dexterous with our hands. So our hands are incredibly important to us. So I see someone mention the yin and yang of our hands. Yeah. We use our hands for different things. I'm left-handed, so that means something for me. Being right-handed means something for somebody else. Some people are ambidextrous, and so that they operate in the world in a different way as well. I'm actually learning how to be ambidextrous and trying to practice with my other hand as well and see how that feels to write with my other hand. So we can work with our hand in so many ways. Know if there's any other comments in the chat.
Can I add something? I
Mm-hmm.
think of a conductor, like the instructor of uh a band, the orchestra, and how they lead the music with like the stick in hand, but they're using both hands
Right.
for both different parts of the band, like percussion versus wind instruments.
Mm.
Uh,
Yes, that's a good point. I was thinking about conduction as well, and that's like a form of sign language. You're leading the band and the different instruments to play in a certain way by moving your hands in a certain way. So yes, that as well.
Thank you.
Hmm. Thank you. see, playing music.
There's also a comment about brain development being directly linked to the hands.
Mm. Would would that person like to speak more about that?
Good morning, this is Jacqueline. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
I,
okay. I have my headset on. Yeah, when I was teaching, I'm a retired teacher now.
Mhm.
Um, it was found that writing um, creates connections between the synapses in the brain. And
Mm,
so when our students are coming up now and they're no longer learning handwriting, they're
mm,
actually being limited by that. And
mm,
so in the early grades, um, same with using computers and calculators and stuff like that. I'm
mm,
totally against using that in the early ages,
mm,
grades 1 to 3,
mm,
K to 3, because
mm,
they already know the link. There's
mm,
something about learning language,
mm,
um, the tactile part of touching the words and tracing with your fingers. And so it's a definite link and connection, and something that some students are now, they don't have it. So, well, it'll be interesting to find out how that really affects us.
mm.
And I'm complete.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Yes, I've heard about that and its relation to, I think it's manual memory, and that the more we do things with our bodies will remember that action. And so it helps us to learn things better when we're using our bodies to do it. And that includes writing. It helps us to remember the language better when our bodies are included in this kind of like repeated process of working through the language. So, yes, thank you for sharing. Is there any other comments in the chat or any other comments people would like to share?
Phyllis put that hand is the creation of your thoughts.
Mm,
And I just kind of want to go back to that comment that Jackie made about the brain development being linked to the hands.
mhm,
I have a brand new grandson, and most infants are born and they have their fists tightly balled.
mm,
But this child is unusual. His hands are always open and exploring, like always exploring. And it's sort of even the nurses said, well, this is an unusual, not
mm.
typical infant. I said, I guess I got a not typical grandson.
And, kids are different, but I know that because there's some kids who just start walking right away, and
Mm,
there's a very important piece to crawling
mm,
that creates a balance. And so, yeah, it would be interesting that I did notice that a lot of these kids coming out, I call them pandemic babies. They don't have their hands balled up. They're reaching, they're
mm,
looking directly at you. They're
mm,
holding their heads up
Yes.
like at birth, like it's crazy.
Um, we refer to them as microwave babies. They're already
Yeah,
done.
yeah, yeah. They quit. Yeah.
They're fast. But it just also speaks to like the rate that development is taking place and
mm,
shifting when you make that connection between the hands and
mm,
the way they're showing up with their hands already coming out, as
mm,
opposed to the way it used to be. And we know that development is actually happening at a quicker pace. So
mm,
that connection just came from me from what Jacqueline said. So thank you.
mm. Thank you for sharing. And that reminds me of what I said earlier about ecologies and how environments shape us as well, and how that relates to memory as well, because why are these babies all of a sudden ready to do certain things? Like that could be an activation of some sort of memory, um, an activation set on by the environment. So that would be interesting to study as well. There any other comments that anyone would like to share?
Phyllis put in the chat, exercises manual memory. And
Mm,
Jacqueline said, I wonder about the spirituality of it all.
mm, that would be interesting to think about as well, and that there might be an ancestral connection to that as well. Okay, so before we before we run out of time, let's move on to the next slide. And so I want to think a little bit deeper about the middle part of the word manifestation, the fest part, and how our hands are able to do multifunctional things. And fest being related possibly to the word offense or defense, and sorry, and also related to the word fence as well. So the fence being an enclosure and a way for us to create and protect a space that we have, and how that also relates to the other possible meaning of fess, which is durst, creating a support system or something that can hold, and also the word festival that originally meant to create a sacred space or a holy space. So the idea that we use our hands to create these spaces of support, of safety, of protection, and the ways in which we go about defending that, or even the ways in which we offend others by invading those sacred spaces, the ways in which we sometimes offend ourselves by destroying those sacred spaces for ourselves and not holding on to the boundaries we need in order to keep that space, and how all of these actions create our realities and create truth for us as well. So in thinking about that, we can move to the next slide. I would like for you all to think of something you would like to manifest. What actions are you taking that are working towards or working against that goal? What support networks, connections, and plans do you have? Are you making to help support in this manifestation? What is the space you are making for the manifestation to exist, to be a reality? So I'm going to give you a few moments, about 3 to 5 minutes, to write a response and then invite you all back to share. Okay, we're at the 3 minute mark. Does anyone need a few more minutes to write? Okay, that was around 5 minutes. So please feel free to keep writing if you need to, but would anyone like to share on the mic, or you can share in the chat as well?
So in the chat, Jacqueline said, I like the way you transitioned. She had already closed her eyes to imagine all the supporting actions needed to help her manifest
Mm,
her dreams. And when she thought of it in the way that you asked the question, she
mm,
felt a sense of peace instead of overwhelm.
mm,
A festival of supporting actions leading to a result which began as a dream.
mm. It's a beautiful way to put it. Yes.
There may be more poets than you here.
You are all poets.
So is there anyone who'd like to come off mute and share? And I think y'all know here in Woo that we do call on folks. Your presence implies participation.
Mm.
That's someone coming to share.
You don't have to share the whole thing. You can share a line from your work, from what you wrote, can summarize it.
So just looking back on people who have contributed. Yes, Laura, would you be willing to come on and share? And get to some folks maybe moving about, getting their day started.
Mm.
How about Abimbola? Someone who I know is manifesting things all the time. Wow, we have a quiet room today. They're more active in the chat than in their voice. They also might still be writing. Someone put something in the chat.
Hi, good morning. This is Phyllis here. Just to distinguish, I know that there's another Phyllis here.
Mm.
So what I am manifesting is a speech for the first time in front of approximately 150 people.
Mm.
And this speech is going to be about fear and how fear has wreaked havoc in my life over the years.
Mm.
And so when my friend asked me to if I wanted to speak because she's going to have 8 people speaking
Mhm.
at this event is an annual event that she's doing for she lost her son 2 years ago to murder. And
Mhm.
so she's going to share because in the process of that, so
Mm.
many women was you know, wanted to know how she was able to get through it because she seems to be at peace.
Mm.
So she's sharing how she's able to get through it. First and foremost, through God, the work of God in her soul and in her being and things
Mm.
of that nature. And so what I've done, well, when she asked me at first, I said, "Oh no, girl, not me. I don't do that." You know, I'm too nervous. I get words twisted and all of the above. And
Mm.
then I slept on it. I spoke with a good friend of mine, sort of like a coach, and she
Mm.
said, "Well, you know that's not what we do. When the opportunity presents itself, you step into it. You don't run away from it."
Mhm.
So, yeah. And I said, "You know what? You're right." So the next morning, I called her and I told her that I would do it.
Mhm.
Um, and so the first thing I did was I um I signed up for a Toastmasters course, and so that's what I'm doing to eliminate the fear and also to get the practice of speaking in front of an audience,
Mhm.
ad-libbing and things of that nature. And so I've also been watching several TED Talks,
Mhm.
and yes. So I still have a little bit of fear, but I'm gonna do it,
Thank
the
you.
best way that I can. Thank you. Thanks for allowing me to share. I'm complete.
Thank you, Phyllis. Yeah, I definitely relate to that as someone who grew up being quiet and a little bit shy and having a bit of social anxiety. Like having to talk in front of people made me nervous. I'm still nervous about talking in front of people, but I was way more nervous about it when I was younger. And getting that practice in and doing that deep study of how to present in front of people and practicing that a lot helped me to overcome that fear. And so, yes, thank you for sharing the action steps you're doing for getting over that fear as well. It's
So,
after 8, so just want to share if anybody needs to leave, please feel free. You can watch the rest later, but anybody else who's staying, if anyone else like to share, please feel free to do so.
and we'll make sure we put the contact information for Sherese in the chat. So if anyone has to go, that's available to them.
Mhm. So does one more person like to share before we go to our last prompt? Okay, so the next prompt that we have is to write your own manifesto. So I talked about earlier about related words. And as someone mentioned earlier, the words that fit under the umbrella of the root word. So manifesto is a word that is related to manifestation. So I'm inviting you all to write your own manifesto. And so I'm going to explain what a manifesto is. Next slide. A manifesto is a written statement declaring publicly the intentions, motives, or views of its issuer. That's from Merriam-Webster. And then next slide. It Here's another definition. It's a public declaration of principles, policies, or intentions, especially of a political nature. So next slide. So that means a manifesto is something that states that the personal is also political. You may have heard that phrase before, that everything we do also relates to the community, to our society, to the political as well. When we declare things publicly, other people can listen to us, other people can feel validated by us, other people might want to share with us their own values and principles and intentions as well. So writing a manifesto can help create a larger community around your goals as well. So next line. So that means the personal is also communal as well. So we are never just by ourselves. We are always part of a community, a society, an entire ecosystem of others around us. And those things help us to create the realities that we live in as well. So this, oh, sorry. So one of my favorite manifestos is from Jill Scott, and it's called Womanifesto. And I love how she talks about how she's more than just a physical person, but a full person with a mind and a spirit, and how she moves through the world. And it's just very empowering to listen to. Some of my other favorite manifestos are also the Mundane Afrofuturism Manifesto, which talks about how we can view Afrofuturism from a a point of view that isn't about, this kind of high tech uh spaceships, but like our everyday lives being Afrofuturist. The Afro Surreal Manifesto that mixes together Afro diasporic reality with the culture of surrealism and dreams and fantasy worlds. The Kambahi River Collective's manifesto, which created the idea of identity politics and how understanding ourselves and who we are in the world can help us better navigate the world as well. And so I don't know if you can share the lyrics for Jill Scott's manifesto, just to quickly look at it. Yeah. So I'll read a little bit from the manifesto. Clearly, I am not a fat ass. I'm I am active brain and lip smacking peach deep, sometimes too aggressive in its honesty and heart sweet, that loves wholly and completely, whom it may choose, whomever it may choose. I am not gonna lie and pacify. I am arms to hold, I am lips to speak, I am a mother effing G. Strong legs that stroll off the 33 bus or out of money green phantom comfortably. Knees that bend to pray, clean from Ajax washing. Hair that is thick and soft, thighs that betwixt an amazing all expense grand prize. I am eyes that sing, smile that brightens, touch that rings, and supplies euphoric release. I am a grand dame queen beast. I am warm, I am peace from the roads of Botswana, from 23rd Street, from the inside third eye, ever watching this wicked, wicked system of things. I do see. I am friend to pen and a lover of strong women, a diamond to men. I am curious and interested like children. I welcome the wise to teach, appreciator of my culture, thick not just from the bone, dense and eat. I have a rhythm in my ways and a practice in my seek. And yes, I do crave the rhythm of my space with a man that rejoices in God's grace. With faith, I do hear to listen, two hands that fist when force pushes to shove and your ego won't submit. I am gifted. I am all of this and indeed the shit. Clearly, I am not just an ass. So I love that from Jill Scott. So, so after hearing that manifesto, I would like for you all to write your own as well. It can be about whatever you would like to publicly declare to others. And I will give you a few minutes, like last time, to begin writing your own manifesto.
That's about 3 minutes. We can give you a couple more minutes to write.
Feel free to keep writing, but would anybody like to share at least some of what they wrote? Ooh, Florence. My manifesto expresses how I'm here to support my universal sisters and help them, us, remember who we are, were, and came to be. Beautiful. I love the who we are, were, and came to be. Past, present, and future. Would anyone else like to share either in the chat or on the mic?
I'm spending quite a bit of time thinking, but I just had one line I wanted to share. This is what I opened with. My heartbeat permits me to move to my own rhythm toward the healing and prosperity of generations not yet born.
Mm, the heart connection, yes. And we're sorry, we're in the year of the heart, so I love that. So if there isn't anyone else who would like to volunteer to share, I would like to end this session with a card reading. I do card readings with tarot and other oracle decks. And so the card that I have for this session is the Knight of Wands, which is also related to the element of air. And with Knight of Wands, it's about the action related to our thoughts and our words. And the deck I'm using is called Creative Liberation Now. And their version of the Knight of Wands is a visionary dreamer of air. I hold the seeds of my liberation. And here they wrote, unmask the self-limiting, self-doubting parts of the self. Tap into the power of hoodoo, you do. Rescue any lost aspects of your infant self. craft up some mischief, resource the divine power called me, defend inner spaces with determination, clarify misconceptions of self, be a caring, constant companion, construct your own castle. So in this, you can clearly hear some of the themes I mentioned for manifestation about protecting your space and using your words and your thoughts and relating them to your actions, about creating this space to help bring forth, as others have mentioned, bringing forth the reality you want in your life. And they also mention here about the importance of our fingertips. And one action they gave was to do a meditation with the mudra called Gyan Mudra. And Gyan Mudra is often associated with the root chakra. So it's basically doing this with your hand and doing a meditation focusing on your root chakra, because your root is about your core and is about your desires and creating a support that will help you manifest things into reality. So doing a meditation with this mudra can help you with manifestation. And I see from Facebook, Benji B wrote, I am manifesting a driver's license and definitive decision around next steps, academic, career-wise. I'm creating a shift in mindset by writing and journaling affirmations to make it real and not dangerous. I will courageously reach out to 2 identified individuals to get some feedback and insight from a deadline of January 15th to identify classes and speak with an advisor. Yeah, and I hope all that happens for you, Benji B. So that is the end of the session. If anyone has any other comments or words they'd like to express, feel free to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we come to the end of the session, so there's a little bit of stuff to take care of. There is a special offer. Sherese, did you want to read your special offer?
Yes, since I do readings, I'm offering a 45-minute complimentary oracle card reading. So basically, you would get to choose a word or theme that you would like to work with, and then I will create a card spread that will go a little bit deeper into that word and exploring how that relates to your life. And so you have till February 1st to email me to make an appointment. And so I guess we can do the number offer where someone guesses the number I'm thinking about.
Okay, folks, let's get those numbers in the chat. Someone has guessed the number 6.
Nope, not yet. Ooh, 7. Jacqueline.
12.
Jacqueline got it.
Oh, Jacqueline got it. All right, it was 7. Jacqueline is on the money today.
That's my number. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so let's move on to make sure that she knows where to email you with your contact information.
Congratulations, Jacqueline. And if anyone else is interested in a oracle reading, you can also contact me via my email or DM me as well.
So feel free to screenshot that. It's also been put in the chat. Jackie, make sure you set up your date before February 1st.
Will do.
All right. Okay, so We always want to encourage people to make love offerings and donations to WOO. You know, this is session 1013. So for 1013 separate days, someone has provided, poured into, supported, supplied, and given of themselves to this community. And if it is in your space at the start of this year to give a love offering or donation, you know, you can do it by Zelle or by Quick Pay to soulleadershipdevelopment@gmail.com. And of course, Cash App. And if you Cash App to $Spirit of a Woman, make sure you put the code hashtag 1013SF. And it kind of tells us what inspired you to make that donation on this day. It will be this awesome session that Sheree has provided. You can also automate your love offerings and donations. So for monthly automated love offerings, you can do it at various price points. This is a way to set it and forget it and know that you're providing the support needed so that we can continue to provide support to others. So pick your amount and set it and forget it. So coming up on Wednesday, tomorrow, we have Know Thyself. Hold on. Study Your Health, Part 1. That's going to be facilitated by Valita Roll. And on Thursday, we have Reverend Brandon Smith coming back with a clean slate in the new year of the 8. So we got some numbers going on. So come back. Of course, we have to welcome new members. If you are a new member to WOO, we appreciate you coming and being a part of our community. And we love, love, love to have you come back. If you're a new member, please let us know in the chat. And y'all come back now. You hear? Did I get that right, Z?
Yes, ma'am.
I know that's your line. Okay, so here's our schedule for Wake Up. We are live on Zoom Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to around 7 to 8:30. And on Monday and Wednesday, it's from 7 to around 7:30. Of course, you can also join us on Facebook. If you can't stick around, go back and watch the stream on Facebook. It's sitting there. And if you'd like to get text alerts to let you know that it's time, you can just text WOO Nation to 74121. And don't forget to visit the swag store. It's great to have a little bottle to put your water in, reusable, save the environment, a tote bag. Also, I don't know if you've had any WOO sightings out in the world, but I keep running into people from this community out in the world, and it'll be a lot easier to figure out where we know each other from if you have some WOO swag on you. So please go visit the WOO swag store. And thank you so much for joining us this morning. I encourage you to stay in contact with the WOO community. You can register for upcoming sessions. Of course, we have our private and our public Facebook pages. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and of course, you can email us here in WOO. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to encourage everyone to come off mute and give a love shower to our awesome facilitator. Please join me in
Thank you so much. So peaceful. So
It's
peaceful.
Wake Up
Thank you. Thank
community.
you.
Thank you for the exploration.
Wonderful
Bringing
session.
out
Thank
the conversation.
This was so beautiful.
Thank you
Thank
for this
you.
wonderful session
Hearts.
on the
Thank
root words and
you.
how important it is.
Home.
And I just want to say, let's move forward, everybody. I love y'all and happy New Year.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, WOO. Thank you, everybody. Oh,
Woo fam.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
You all.
Blessings to everyone in the new year of 2024.